We are honored and excited to have with us Mr. Niraj Shah, Design Director and Co-Founding Partner, IDO Design Solutions, Ahmedabad, a TEDx speaker, multidisciplinary designer, jury member at Spectrum of Platforms, art director, and more. He is someone who wears multiple feathers in his cap and believes that good design is born out of synergies, experiences, needs, and bouts of common sense.
So I'm Niraj Shah, co-founder, director of IDO Design and IDO Graph. So we have a small little design firm and we do graphic design, interior design, branding, strategy, films, film publicity, production design, a little bit of fashion design,
Okay.
dabble into a little bit of furniture design. So that's still learning design.
Okay. So can you please tell us about your journey into design and how you started?
So this is nostalgia,
Definitely,
right? Going
definitely.
back into time. And I don't know how much time we have in this particular session of chit chat, that this introduction and the entire journey might itself take about an hour. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
That's okay?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Okay.
You talk.
So we started in about 2000. So it's been about 22 plus years of design practice. The interesting part was that after having studied interior design, there were opportunities that came in set design, and I started my career, so to say, working with an art director called Bijan Dasgupta, one of the leading art directors, and got a chance to work on a few music videos, because music videos at that time in about 2000, so this is about 98, 99, was really big, and I wanted to work on music videos. So worked on Shankar Madhavan's Breathless with Farhan and Zoya.
Okay.
Worked with on Shamak Dawas Jhoot Bole Kawa Kaate. Worked on Falguni Pathak's Yaad Piya Ki Aayegi. So the entire set. We worked on Sahara films, Sahara TV sets in fact, and worked on Kache Dhage the movie.
Okay.
And did the entire non-outdoor set which was done at the Film City in Bombay. Worked on that. So almost about 16 months there. And then realized that, as much as I enjoyed it, and it was quite exciting to, be in this and being an assistant art director already then, that it was necessary to get out of temporary design to come into permanent design is what we were taught. Timelessness, detailing, etc. Yeah, there was no detailing.
Yes.
You make the set, you break it, it's gone. And simultaneously, in fact, even before my thesis got done, a few of us were already working on few projects, and it was decent enough experience. So my partner and my wife, and who was not my wife then, we were already working on some projects, and then some opportunities came in Ahmedabad. The first few projects that we did were events. So from sets, we started doing weddings. So we did
Okay.
about weddings for about 3 years, and we just did wedding design. So the multidisciplinary thing just kind of happened. So it started like that. We started to establish the firm, and we had, the first trainee almost after a year. Till then, what we were doing was we were only, measuring ourselves, making, quotes ourselves, designing ourselves, making models, etc., or just the two of us. And that's how the journey really started, with some residence somewhere, some little office. We did some government projects as well, which we realized that we are not really cut off for it. And it's very important that when you establish a design firm, you also establish a philosophy.
Yes.
And there were a lot of difficulties at that time to lead you or to push you, or the environment was such that it would push you into doing something in a certain way. But I would take this opportunity, and especially because we are here sitting, as a part of a design institute, to say that it's not just about how you began and the journey and, how many people you had and how you started having an organization and all that. What's important is that both of us were very, very sure that we are going to create a good work environment and be ethical. And our
Okay.
practice is 100% ethical. And that is a tough thing, because today people think that, when you're in a design profession, you make it a business. You have cuts, commissions everywhere. And a lot of them do function like that. But if you want to do that, you might as well take turnkey jobs. we realized we did turnkey jobs. Whatever saving that we had out of the turnkey job, which is legally allowed to be kept, we said, no, we are getting our design fees, we should be giving that back. And we were
Yeah.
laughed at, of course, because there were a lot of seniors there in a government job, and they loved it, but they thought we were so stupid and naive. But then we realized that we don't want to do it any other way, and we want to establish ourselves as being ethical and ethical practice. So that's how the journey started.
Okay, so sir, how has design evolved since you started, like evolved in Ahmedabad?
So, see, design evolution is based on many factors. Ahmedabad itself has evolved.
Yes.
Right? We have evolved through progress and through trauma. Right? Ahmedabad has come out of the earthquake. The whole country and the world has come out of COVID.
Yes.
And in between, we've had a lot of different things that have happened to Ahmedabad. Expansion geographically, migration from other places. Trust me, the political scene, and that political scene kind of continuing with our CM becoming the PM. So the progress in terms of Gujarat or in Ahmedabad has been high, which means two things. One is that already there was a connect and exposure of a lot of Gujaratis being abroad.
Yes.
Then there were so many who were not going abroad, were getting better exposed because they started progressing, started becoming more affluent, started seeing things around. And the
Exposure.
Bombay Connect was also more. So yes, so therefore the exposure.
Yes.
And that itself is the evolution of a city.
Yes.
When that happens, design automatically evolves. Now there are two things in Ahmedabad. That there is a design evolution that happens because there is already so much design happening in Ahmedabad. So a large factor of design evolution in Ahmedabad is all its design schools. Right? We've got so many design schools now. Earlier there used to be a couple of them, just about 3 or 4. And now we've got so many, right? And these design schools have created that much more exposure, that much more awareness for people to not deviate so much from what is better design. So today real estate is big, and real estate developers themselves are competing with each other, not in terms of who does it bigger, but who does it better in terms of design, in terms of
Yes.
deliverable, in terms of
Yes.
aesthetics, right? And today most of the developers themselves, their own kids are into design.
Into design, yeah.
They're either studying or they're kind of pursuing it or whatever. So the aspects of design kind of evolved with all these multiple facets. So exposure, geographical expansion, political scenario, economic growth, as well as design education within the city. So I think this is all that helped evolve design. How it has evolved is a thesis on its own. But these were the factors that kind of made it happen.
So what would be some unique challenges that Indian designers face compared to other countries?
I don't think Indian designers face any challenges.
No challenges according to you?
Challenges are universal. Any design profession itself has its own challenges, right?
Yes.
The first thing that you said, how do you kind of communicate your design? But TK, you've learned that in design schools, and there are newer and newer ways of doing it, right? But your Indian design challenges, okay, it's always about the gap between what you're thinking and what the client is thinking, right? Or what the user is thinking.
Yes.
Now, if you don't have a channel for communication, then it's very difficult. So then that's a challenge
Yes.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Say, for example, if you're designing a product,
Yeah.
and you don't know who your target audience is correctly, or you are designing for a certain kind of a group, and you've tested and all that on a smaller this, but you don't know how it's going to go out into the market, to the mass. So things could go wrong. And that's a challenge because you need more research, you need more prototyping, you need more testing for it to really go out, because there's a cost of putting it out into the market.
Definitely.
Then you look at communication design. Communication design also must kind of fulfill a certain need. Today, communication design is from the identity, from fulfilling its brand, creating the brand philosophy, its story, tone of voice, all of that, and you push that out into the market with that kind of a visibility. Now, the challenges are different. Sometimes the budgets don't allow. Sometimes you want that sale, but you're not okay with creating that kind of visibility. Sometimes you feel that there is a budget for visibility, which means to do hoardings and to do, digital ads, etc. But the brand needs to be like a pull-based brand, not a push-based brand. And you say, no, we don't want to do so much. Let's wait for some time. Let's create a need. Let's create a desire. And that's how you build a brand.
Yes.
So sometimes even that is not understood, and that's a challenge because you could go wrong. So the challenge always is that for a known client, the challenge is the communication. For an unknown client or a user, where you're looking at a large, mass of people, you don't know how to pinpoint who's actually your TG. Even if you have a target group, you don't really know how they're reacting. Today, yes, of course, we have better tools, but all that is still nascent. Everybody's still learning, performance marketing and funneling and all of that. It's all there. These are all tools. But these are the real challenges. A lot of people say that new technology and AI and all of this is going to be a new challenge. They're all tools. There's no challenge. You have to dig deep, you have to do enough research, and you have to put yourself to the actual design process in order to fulfill that particular need of that hour, of that point.
So I just have a phrase, and then you are supposed to say what you feel about it.
Okay.
It's design is exciting. That's it.
I'm laughing also because just the session that we had today.
Yes.
In fact, that's what I was just talking about, these three words, that design is exciting, design is enticing, and design is empowering. So design better be exciting. I mean, I believe in it. I mean, to answer your question in one word is I 100% believe that design is exciting. And I can tell you this, that design is exciting for both. For you as a designer, and design is exciting for the user. And if the user is excited with your design, then you as a designer is excited even more.
Yeah, it's a
Right?
circle.
It's a circle.
So you know how everyone thinks that designers have the ability to always have new ideas and look at things differently. So there are obviously times where we have a creative block. So how do you combat that, or what are your thoughts on the creative block?
It's as natural as how the human body or the human mind functions. The first thing I would say, and I got this question today from multiple students as well, and I think this is really worrying a lot of people. As much as it is a question, my first input is for anybody that it is going to happen. You've got to be aware of it, right? You've got to be aware of the fact that, oh, now this is a block, okay? But it should not trouble you. So one is that you just let it pass. There is another book that I'm kind of just come across recently, which I'm reading. It's called, it's by Andrew Smart. It's called The Art of Doing Nothing. And it actually talks about the whole importance of, and I'm not talking about pushing the whole idea of laziness, but it's about taking a break from a rigorous process, right? And believe me, this is scientifically proven. And there are neuroscientists who have worked on it, neurologists who have worked on it. And it is believed so that if you take a break, you may be able to combat that block. I'll give you another solution, which I am a big advocate of, but I'm also trying my best to do it better and more regularly, is meditation.
Okay.
And trust me, it's magical. So it's the same idea of doing nothing, but it's doing nothing not for too many days, but for a certain number of minutes. So you're just kind of doing nothing for about 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 5 minutes, but you're in that state of mind that it kind of gives you that kind of a break. The other is, of course, the other answer is, and I insist this to a lot of people, is that get enough sleep. And I'm saying this to everybody, to young people, to professionals who are there. I've done it for a good amount of time where I thought that I could get away with less sleep. I did function decently well, but now as kind of age comes in and all, you've got to realize that the body and the mind really needs enough sleep. These are the things that create those blocks first. So you can combat that. The other is what I call is external stimuli.
Okay.
Right? Which you guys may look at as inspiration, picking up things from here and there. And I'm not saying generally just copy or imitation, but looking at things which are all around us. Sometimes even that is too much, so you got to take a break from it.
Yes.
But sometimes you can consciously go and look at certain things very pointedly. That's very specific. You're looking at that and you're getting inspired. you're creating that little bit of a stimuli. And I'm not saying that you're designing an ad or a logo for somebody, right? As a part of visual communication.
Yes.
And you're stuck and you start looking at only logos. You're going to get stuck. It's going to be a creative block because there are two things that will happen. One is that it might kind of trigger an idea that you already had, or because you're so frustrated, you just pick up something and not be happy about it, right? Because as a designer, you always want to do something creative, right? And but at the same time, it may even happen that you may look at so much that you may realize that, oh my God, these are so much better, I'm never going to get there. So you kind of again go into that shell. So don't do that. Your stimuli could be a good film, right? Could be just a nice chai, coffee, at the balcony with, rain falling. It could be a conversation or a chat with a friend. Some people I know, they love kind of throwing a tantrum. And it's a fun tantrum. So they'll kind of fight with, their spouse or their friend or their siblings or whatever. So whatever gets that little thing out.
Okay.
So do that, get that external stimuli, and you'll be surprised that it'll just come to you.
Okay. That's really...
Small answer for a small question.
Okay. So does design spring from sorrow or melancholy?
Sorrow or melancholy is pretty much on the same side of the spectrum, right? And design can never come from there.
Never?
Design can never come from there. Design can never come from... Design is for joy. Design is for betterment. Design is for better living. Design is for us to get things which are comforting or convenient. So why should design come from dark spaces? And I don't know why. So in fact, I want to ask you this question. How did you even think of this kind of a question?
No, because art is usually like, oh, artists were so sad and then they made this painting and they got inspired when they were in a jail, or they were suffering from certain diseases. So, and sometimes, yes, the creative process kind of, even when you look at poetry and shairi and stuff, people write from their sorrows. So even design could be like that.
Okay. So now let me, so I think now I'm getting this, okay, in terms of where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what happens, and it's a great example. Our differentiation is intense, meaning that if the spectrum is kind of a grayscale, we get confused with the grayscale. Or we can see the white clearly and we can see the black clearly. The problem is that we are expected to be joyous, therefore we miss it.
Okay.
Right? We don't see it because we expect it to be happy. So when you're happy, you don't even realize you're happy. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But when you are sad, you realize that you're sad. Yes. Now what happens is that we as humans, as much as we want to be on the happy side, we like to brood. We like to suffer. We like to tell ourselves that we are in this bad space because it's self-sympathy, right?
Yes.
And obviously, it's also a lot of sympathy that can come from outside. Now, how does that trigger? What happens is that it's not that is triggering shairi or art in a certain way. What it's doing is that your awareness of your emotion is extremely high.
Okay.
And it's that awareness of the emotion and the depth that it is coming from, and that emotion is deep down inside. And in order to express that, you're using other mediums to do so. Correct?
Okay.
Also, it's again human to kind of have sympathy, empathy, as what I was saying. Now, your expression is not only for yourself. If the guy who kind of did this in the jail for himself, why would he even need to publish it? Why did somebody even publish it? Correct? Because you need glory. You wanted to reach out to other people.
Yes.
And we start relating to it. Why? Because we don't have enough words to express certain emotions.
Yes.
Most of us don't. Some are blessed. So artists are blessed to be able to express their emotions. And it's express. It's not convey. Convey is when there is a need to actually tell to somebody else.
Yes.
Because that's not a desire.
Yes.
Communication may convey is one part of communication. It's right desire to let it go to the other
end,
right? Which is we call sender, receiver, and medium. Correct?
Yes.
So you as a sender are sending it to a receiver. Receiver is known or unknown, one to many, many to one. Correct?
Yes.
Basic?
Yes.
Viscom?
Yes.
Right? First year? Okay. Now, in case of expression, it is not the desire to convey. It is first the desire to only express. But suddenly there's an epiphany and you feel God, you feel it's come out, you feel it's crazy. You look at it and you say like, Sachi mein maine likha khud ne, like, have I done this? And then you want it to get validated.
Yes.
Also, you think that there may be so many others who may be suffering and they may not be able to express. So let them connect to this and try and feel this in the same manner that I did. And a lot of them do, right? We start connecting to, sad songs and connecting to it because the emotion there, the vulnerability is high.
Yes.
That is why it comes from there. Design does not come from a dark space, that's clear. Design does not need to come from a dark space. You may get into that, and if that becomes a trigger for you, great, nothing like it. But you cannot delve there and keep waiting and wanting only that moment or that kind of an emotion to kind of push you into design. No. Design is first not even related to emotions directly first, at least yours as a designer. It's to do with problem solving.
Yes.
You got a brief, you've got to attack that, and you've got to solve that problem with all the tools that you have and that you know. Somebody could do it better, but it's come to you, you better attack it in the best possible way that you do. Now, if one of those days you're sad and gives you a better design, well and good. If it solves the problem better, nothing like it. What if the problem is the same? What if the problem is similar? What if you're looking at the problem as a problem because you were in a problem? And then the way you created a solution for your soul, you're trying to match that and create a solution for that problem, which is very physical. I don't know. Never gone through it. But even that could happen.
Yeah, possibilities are
Okay, I'll give you another example. And that's not dark.
Okay.
So this was like, I lost my mother when I was about, I think, 30, or maybe 28 or 29. That was quite early for anyone. And it was obviously quite sudden, but at the same time, because she was hospitalized and was kind of, you know what happened? I don't even know when there was that moment of, actually grieving. That loss is there and that attachment is there, obviously. And then suddenly, there's a void and you expect it and you don't expect it and you don't want it to happen. You're doing everything for it and all of that. But you know what happened? And I won't say design. But for me, design helped the other way. Instead of design being helped by that space was helped by design. And it was that time when this not only became a diversion, but it became a happy diversion. Because everywhere else you were trying to solve smaller problems. You were getting joy in somebody else getting joy. And you realized that, maybe the purpose of life is different. And design gave that purpose of life, believe me. And I'm not being philosophical. So, so imagine a dark space actually
turning out and
apparently a dark space. I won't even say dark space, but yes, it's a sad moment and it was grief, but it kind of, it's design and creativity or that creative burst that actually maybe made us survive through that better. I don't know.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes. So what is your take on the need for innovation as well as maintaining cultural sensitivity at the same time?
Heavy question.
Heavy question.
So, okay. So, I think I understand where it's coming from. Is from this whole idea of, I think, innovation and cultural sensitivity being kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum again, right?
Yes.
It's not the case. It's not the case. There are two aspects. One is, in fact, exactly there are three. So there could be a design approach sometimes, and that may be the best solution for a design problem, which is to be involving or encompassing innovation. Where innovation is required and innovation is not happening only for the sake of innovation, right? And innovation is innovative. Jugadu idea also can be innovation because mostly those are. And there could be innovation in terms of using technology into something which was mundane and it was already there and suddenly it's become an innovative product, solving the same problems that were already existing but in a different way. The other is that you're only solving a problem, a cultural problem through design and keeping that ethos. And the other is where we all are, mostly urban schooling, urban living settings, urban design schools, etc. We are the ones who are kind of jammed between the third part. And the third is where both these things combine together. Why can't we solve a cultural problem with innovation? Why can't we look at innovation or innovative space product where certain parts of culture come in? And it's not like a khichdi, right? You're not doing a kind of a unmatched mix. I'm not against the unmatched mix, you can do, but design needs to be cohesive and it needs to kind of pick the right things out of the right aspects. So it can be an innovative product, but it may need to have a certain cultural sensibility. I'm not talking about decorative cultural sensibility, right? Right, the way you make a iPhone and make it look Indian with an Indian cover and African with an African cover, right? Not that, right?
No.
But is it that culturally we use certain things in a certain manner, and we may even use technology in that manner? And I'm kind of unable to kind of give examples, but you'll see that a lot in just the way we use social media. Correct? I mean, look at technology and culture. The way replies come in on some, stories and posts is they are multilingual. They are different. They are kind of tuta futa English Hindi mixed is Hinglish, Gujlish, whatever. But that's it, right? Isn't that? I mean, language is a large part of the culture.
Yes.
The way it is said and the way that reaction happens, and you've seen reactions. You'll have emojis. You'll have abbreviations of profanity, right? Because it's indecent to say certain words on social media, and people say it in different ways. And then you will have English abbreviations for Hindi galis, correct? And that happens, right? I mean, how cultural and how innovative, isn't it? Because that's where our need and desire for expression comes in. So I don't think that there is any boundary to it, and I don't think they are completely on opposite sides of the spectrum. You got to look at both of them as lenses to design or to solve that problem and use it as a tool.
And my question is academia and the industry. Like, what are the difficulties and how should a student prepare, before they actually get exposed to the industry, which is definitely very different to the academia that we are in?
Yeah, so it's an important question, and obviously we are, as a part of an academic program and institute that we're talking, and this question has come in every time. I mean, this is not new. It's been there like since our times, and since I mean, again looking at it as a gap or as a deficiency. And believe me, it's not the students. There are a lot of professionals who are at fault. And this is the kind of feedback that they end up giving to design schools as well. Oh, the kids aren't really ready for the market. I mean, who the hell, why? You were not ready either. Like, suddenly just because you kind of, running a design organization, that does not mean that, you know it all, right?
Yeah.
So nobody's prepared. There is no other preparation. A lot of times when design programs are done, there is always an effort to teach design students of final year, etc., to kind of being ready for the profession. There's only that much of time. If it's a 4-year program, it's a 4-year program. It's a 5-year program, 5-year program. There are enough subjects already added. There are experts who put those subjects together. It may work, it may not work completely, right? How many more subjects will you teach? Somebody says no. They need to know how to do public speaking. They need to go and meet and talk to people, right? And that's kind of becoming a big need. But that's
Yes.
also changing,
Yes.
right? It may not have been important earlier. Suddenly it's become more important now. Maybe people have got more aware of it. So there are certain soft skills which are missing today. And those soft skills are things that students need to learn before they get into an office environment. You already have internship programs. And that's it. 6 months is good enough to kind of understand some bits of the organization. All I would say is that even if you like to venture on your own, people like to freelance and to moonlight and all that, great. Be your own boss, do your own thing, great, but it's overrated. It's overrated. If everybody became an entrepreneur, then who's going to work for whom, right? Then we will never have large organizations. So I think it's important that anybody who's getting out, get your safety net, which means that you join somebody for about 2 years or so at least, and maybe even for longer. And get your safety net, get your creative juices flowing there, get your freedom there. Check places when you go. In fact, I even say this, forget anything else. When you're going for an interview, remember you are also taking an interview. Don't be brash about it, right? But observe and ask 1 or 2 correct questions without being too overbold or, of kind of cheesing off the person who's interviewing you, because you are there for a job.
Yes.
But at the same time, yes, you can ask right questions. So make sure that you get into a kind of an environment that you think you may actually blossom and grow. Other soft skills added is a big added advantage, but you are never prepared. And we are still learning. So
Yes.
as you rightly said, your question was that as I'm also a student, I like that because I thought you were referring to me because I'm also a student.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, everyone's a student.
Everyone's a student. So you've never learned enough. Even today, at this time and age, a lot of people come and ask in terms of how did you do this? Or I'm asking them like, oh my God, like, how did you do that? So which is seen and fathomable, but you've never thought of venturing into it yourself. So every point there is an opportunity to learn. So you've never learned enough. And don't put those unnecessary pressures onto yourself for being ready for the market. One is never ready for the market. And I don't understand at all what this generation is, and I generally don't stereotype, but I'm seeing this. I don't understand the hurry. I don't understand the hurry of finishing the course. I don't understand the hurry of kind of getting into the market, being ready, being right. There's no right, there's no ready. What's the hurry? One life. Live it. Enjoy it. Design and creativity gives you that opportunity. So
Yes.
why be so over prepared?
Wow.
Make sense?
Yes, a lot.
Okay.
So jack of all trades and master of one. So what is the best industry practice according to you?
So this question is is brilliant, okay? And wherever this kind of came in from, I said this again today, as part of the presentation, was that I still believe jack of all. But if you really ask me, industry practice or industry, yes, there are a lot of big stalwarts who've always said that it's better to go deeper. So you go depth, which means master one. And you do that, you find your groove, and you get into it, and you master it, and it's amazing.
Yes.
That has different results. If you're looking at success and measuring it in a certain manner, and being a master, and being called a master, see, master meaning you master something that you didn't know yesterday, right? And you mastered it in the sense you didn't know how to cook something, or you make chai, for example, and you made good chai, decent chai. You make
Yes.
good chai and you make like amazing chai. You mastered it, right, for yourself.
Yes.
And your great chai, somebody will say that no, yaar, I think your mom makes better chai, correct? And you're still compared, but you mastered it. You didn't know yesterday. You didn't know like about 2 weeks back. And you made six times you made chai, and now today you're making a good chai. What is it? Is it mastery? For yourself, you have, right? Because you went from 0 to 10, 0 to
Yes.
8. It still may be subjective. Success is like that. You may go deep into it. You may feel great. You may be at the top. You may master it. So don't look at whether you're mastering or not. Are you enjoying that journey? For me, if you ask me, I'm more horizontal. And that doesn't mean that it's shallow. It's only about I decide how much depth to go into.
Okay.
And it will be at least above an average, right? Get into it above an average. I use another word that we as a design firm, we're dabblers. And yes, complete dabblers. Dabble into anything. And everything is taught by design. Everything is governed by that. That whole joy of creativity, that whole joy of learning something new. And that's how you kind of enrich yourself as a human being. That's the whole advantage of being in a creative field, right?
Yes.
So dabbling.
Dabbling. Okay. Definitely will dabble.
Dabble, yes.
So now we have a rapid fire.
Oh, great.
So just one word or one line.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I need that.
okay. So the best designers to collaborate with? Dream designers.
Oh, great question. Yeah, that's not so rapid, but oh my God, I'm completely blank there. Dream designer. Okay. So I don't even know whether he still exists or not, and what all he's doing now. But it was Ron Arad, and I was very fascinated by Ron Arad, and I would love to, collaborate with Ron Arad.
Okay. One thing you would like to change in the current design industry?
Ethics.
Which ethic?
Which ethic? Okay, I mean economic ethic.
Okay. Favorite memory as a designer?
Every time and especially this happens when, with an interior design site especially, every time it's kind of almost complete. And when the lights come on, that's still always the favorite memory, and it still gets better and better.
Yes.
Yeah.
5 adjectives you believe describes the perfect design. 5 adjectives.
Cohesive, comforting, exciting, continuous, and fifth would be changeable.
Changeable.
Yeah.
Okay. Your favorite design by other designers.
It's a huge gamut, but favorite design by other designers. Okay, I like the experimentation of, which is quite vague here. There's so much. Okay, Antonio Gaudi.
Okay. Worst memory while designing in the industry, obviously.
Being stuck in the process.
Top things that a student must have in their portfolio before they go into the industry.
Hand sketches.
Hand sketches. Okay. And your favorite design element?
Light.
Light. So I have this one question that every designer or architect has their own signature, जिससे पता चलता है कि हाँ ये इन्होंने बनाया है. So what is your signature?
As a firm, as an organization, we actually try and strive hard to not have a signature. And because for us, design is driven by multiple factors. If it's retail, it's driven by the brand. If it's communication, it's driven by the need for communication and the brand.
Yes.
If it is an interior of a home, it is governed by the people who are living in it. So we try our best to evolve it every time to kind of meet certain set standards,
Okay.
to meet those aspirations,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Of the brand or of those people, and thereby evolve something which is good, right for them, unique to them, and therefore different from each other. We though are told many a times that certain kind of a language, whether it's interiors or graphic design or branding or strategy, whatever, could be ours. Generally, people would like to take that positively. We don't take it positively because we say like, it shouldn't have been signature. But I think what they're trying to say is there is a certain sense of cohesiveness in design, which is kind of not unique to us, but yes, I think we try and get it almost every time, and that's important to us.
Yes.
And a certain level of minimalism. So it's cleaner in terms of, and cohesive and clean is what we strive for. And I think when that comes through, and a lot of people are doing it, it's not kind of only our signature, but I think people do see that experimentation with that kind of cleanliness, or what we call is aesthetic and visual hygiene is a little high, and I think that comes in. Whether it's luxury or non-luxury, doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I think that that could be signature enough.
Okay. What do you feel about the new generation of designers, and what would be your one advice to them?
So one is that I think positively, and this happened more so because I think when while interacting as a group, everybody was not very forthcoming, and I think maybe it's difficult that in a crowd of about 700 or so, it's kind of difficult, and the stage is not too close, and maybe as much as I'm okay and I'm keen on making the atmosphere comfortable,
Yes.
it kind of still would take some time, and I think I did not get that kind of a response. But on interacting with few of them later when they had questions, I see a lot of drive. The problem with so the drive is very good and it's very potential, right? It also means that they're raring to go, correct? And therefore they're raring to learn. But the negative part of the drive is that I think, and which I said earlier, is that I sense a sense of hurry. And I don't know what that hurry is, and where each one is trying to go. So I think the whole problem and the advice would be that whether it is the hustle, whether it is this whole drive, the fire, which will give a lot of determination and kind of dedication to it and correct to being in design. But with that hurry, my problem is the worry. And that's my advice, that don't be worried. A lot of things, you need to have faith in the universe. You need to have faith in the fact that you're blessed, that you come from these kind of backgrounds and you're in a design school, somebody's paying your fees for it, right? You've got 4 years to really learn because this is the foundation program.
Yes.
So you're blessed. Just first thank your stars, right? And you're in an environment with these many students of coming from different backgrounds, trying to pursue different fields of design. What more diversity and variety will you get? So my advice would be, stop the worry. The hurry is up to you, how much you want to pace yourself. But take this opportunity to reach out to other batchmates of yours, right? Different program mates of yours, and learn from each other. That's my advice.
Learning from each other.
Yes. And what I mean by learning from each other is that in order to learn from each other, you have to reach out to each other.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that, the ability to reach out to each other is also kind of reducing.
Yes.
So the moment you want to learn from each other, you will have to reach out to each other. So make friends. I mean, these will be your best friends for your life.
Okay.
You have good friends? Yeah?
Yes, I definitely have.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for
Pleasure.
being here with us today. And it was really insightful talking to you and discussing about industry standards as well as a student, when I look at it, and especially the question where, academia and industry, it was really insightful personally for me also. It was really good interacting with you today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Riddhi. It was absolutely pleasure. And I think, almost this entire day has been dedicated to UID. It's always a pleasure to be here at UID, addressing the foundation program and, being coaxed and pushed by innovation. I think I'm here, for the day, and it was brilliant interacting. Thank you so much, Riddhi.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope we get a chance to interact with you further as well.
Without the camera as well, yes, absolutely.
Yes.